We did succeed in moving it over a couple bays. We're putting a battery in it. We're gonna try it and see. It's not just about Ferraris today. It's about a day in the shop, making it work with Jimmy. We're getting this place open up. There's a few procedures if you're new here. It's usually a lot of sirens in the background, a lot of race cars, drag racing. And there's a lot of trickery in opening up the place. We are definitely making it work. Hope you're enjoying the content so far. It's been very entertaining for me. So you guys must just be on the edge of your seat. With all the drama and suspense, mystery and intrigue, the fantastic acting, directing, producing. Why haven't you subscribed yet? I don't understand it. We are going to do what we can to get people back on the road. Have a little bit of fun. And try to keep the lights on if we can. We're doing what we have to do. We got approval, I mentioned yesterday, for axle seals, front rotors and pads. We got approval on the old mud stain for some struts and lower control arms. We're probably going to do that today. Or I might work on a Ferrari all day. I don't know. We'll see. Let's stop flapping our gums. Let's finish getting the shop open up. See what we can do today. Try to get some productive done and make it work. We got a valve cover gasket if we need to do one of those. We got everything. We got antifreeze. We got suspension arms and coolant bottles. If you need any oil or coolant containers to put your old stuff in, we have it. All you got to do is dial 1-800. I don't clean up after myself. Let's finish getting this place open up and get started. Stay tuned. Just an update on the giveaways this round. I'm going to do more in the future, so it's not over, but I picked 4 people, got 3 jump boxes and a scanner. They're going out in the mail finally. I've been so busy. I apologize. It's taking a little while, guys, but we'll get it. And we got another round coming up soon. So this is how they tossed it. And I took it out last night and I said, I'll put the new battery in the morning. I'm not going to deal with it tonight. I'm not in the mood. So they did it. So I have to take it back apart and hope we don't end up back at square one. I don't really think that's the problem. It could be. It's Italian exotic. Anything's possible, but it's got this bar in the way. So you got to disconnect that post, get the battery in, and then hook this up behind it. It goes all the way back. Cool setup. Took 30 minutes to install the battery in this thing. Now, get to see how it runs once I get the floor mat out from under the pedals. You guys know where they put the keys? You see them? Luckily, it's not a big deal to get in and out of it. You don't have anything nice to say? I don't say anything at all. Gonna go. Let's give it a second. There it goes. Apparently only the Autel works well with this thing. I went in, cleared the codes, did a left Motronic recovery, a right Motronic recovery, and then it had a 1571 missed immobilizer. I don't know what that meant, so I went in and cleared them again. And then when you go in now to right Motronic, read codes, no codes. Then you go to left Motronic, read codes, no codes, and it's running great. No blinking check engine light. So it's almost like, I don't know if the battery has anything to do with it, if it feels a misfire on startup or something, because the intake manifold had a little oil in it, and that's why it was smoking in a previous video. It was over oiled. They got me like 11 quarts of oil. It's supposed to be 9, but in any event, we've got that cleared out, but still once in a while there's a little oil puddled in the manifold. We're gonna have to take it and wring it out down the road a little bit and clear some of that out. I think what might be happening is intermittently a little oil gets in the cylinder and it causes a misfire on startup, and then it gets mad and just like doesn't work that bank correctly. Very strange, very sensitive car, very frustrating. I'm very over it. We will see what happens, see how it goes, and start doing some regular normal work where I can make a good living. All right, normal repair. Well, as normal as it gets for Eric O. Down here in Central Florida. Got my new rotors out the box, got them brake cleaned off. And then I said, you know what? My friend wants to see. They're all charged up, rested, invigorated, ready to go. Ferrari's running good. I told one of the other guys I think I bitched too much about working on it, that they can work on it next time. He got all quiet. Anyway, these are 14s, and the caliper bracket is a 15. Since we're going to do pads, I'm just going to pull the caliper off. I want to see how that hose sits if I flip it around one turn. Make sure it's going to be sitting right, which I think it will. I was blowing spider webs and stuff out of the area, and I blew the sand off the lift because the gravel road attracts sand on all the tires. You can see how the tires look. And I don't like working on that stuff because it can get in your bearings and whatever else. And it just makes a mess in general. Anyway, let's get to work. I got some tools. And we'll get started. Should have got my little 3/8 impact, but that's all right. Let's see here. Don't have to push this back too far because the parts are all fairly new. They're just old. Like someone did all the work and then it sat for a year or two, it looks like. It's hard to say. I am having a good week this week, even though I'm really frustrated about the way the Ferrari's going, but I'm having a good week. I'm at like 30 hours after 2 days, and that's, they owe me another 7 or 8 hours for the Ferrari. When I get this and the Mustang done, that's another 20 hours. So it's going to be a good week. It's only Wednesday. But I'm capable of 70 and 80 hour weeks if I get normal work. I just haven't gotten normal work lately, so 40 and 50 hour weeks become the norm. That's another thing about the flat rate business. You've gotta, even when you're making decent paychecks, when you're on flat rate, you know you could have done better. You feel like you lost money. So just one of those things you have to deal with. Mental gymnastics. That's how it's supposed to be. So we're going to hook this. And not set the internet ablaze. The caliper, the pads get a little glazed and stuff, but it's mostly just from sitting. Like I said, plus there's no lubrication. There's spiders' nests in here. So no lubrication on the contact points. And you know that's a big no-no. Kind of know who you ask. And for those, I brought the big gun. This adapter is starting to twist. Did I show you guys that? It's getting harder and harder to get sockets on it. It's like twisted just a few degrees, so it's going to snap any minute. See that? But they'll give me another one when I break it. So, and if I just tell him it's like that, he'll say, well, I can't warranty it till it's broken. I'll be like, go inside and break it. I thought that's ever happened before. That's wrong. He wouldn't do it. This was a little loose. I told him we need to adjust those bearings or something, but maybe that's why they sold rotors instead. Get this cap off of here. Hopefully. Sometimes they pop right off, sometimes they don't. And this one don't. We get a little hammer, get a smaller screwdriver, and we can work this seam open and get it off without destroying it. You always tweak them a little. I'll try to bend them back. If it tweaks really bad, you got to replace them. Because if they don't hold the grease in, stuff happens. I'll set a rag out on the lift, the seal and all that stuff, get it all greased up, and we can go back together once we have it at that point. These have been pretty handy. Exactly the same as the engineer pliers. I asked them about it, they didn't respond. They said, "You're going to use it in some of your videos?" I said, "Yeah, I noticed it's a lot like my engineer pliers." And they were like, but I'm guessing it's the same company. Someone was saying one's for the import market, one's for the domestic market. I know these are quite a bit more expensive than the engineer brand, and it's the exact same tool. This isn't even the right size cotter pin. Why am I fixing it? I don't want Rain Man Ray to send me a nasty email again like the last one. Using an old cotter pin, boy, he gets mad. Woo! We don't want to bring that much heat. The old days, the nut had slots cut in it, and I guess they found a way to make it cheaper. They had a little stamped sheet metal that locks the nut and holds the cotter pin. It also gives you more optional positions, I suppose, but I would estimate they did it because it saves them a little money machining the nuts or something. I had no tension. You have to have some tension on the bearing. I'll tighten them. If you've seen this before and it's repetitive, I apologize. I'm just happy to have a brake job, to tell you the truth. You tighten it down until you feel it get noticeably harder to turn. You're not locked up, but you'll feel more rolling resistance. And you back it off and snug it down so there's no play in the bearings. If you can rock the rotor too much, I think it's like 2 thousandths or 3 thousandths. There's a specification for it. If you can rock it too much, then when they wear in and bed in a little bit in the new races and all, then there's going to be too much play like this one has. It wasn't quite tightened enough. They're pretty forgiving about it, really, but in my mind, I want to do it right. I don't want to see what I can get away with. Not like when I do body work. When I do body work, I'm going to see what I can get away with. Make sure there's no metal. Oop, there is a little. No, is that metal? Yep. There's a little metal in that bearing. See the little flakes, the little sparkles in the bearing? Very slight, but I'm going to recommend replacing it. See what they want to do. I think we might have been pushing this guy's budget to the limit. That's why we selected some things we thought were the most important. But I will go tell them, because there's no extra labor. It's just a bearing. The race is already in the rotor. Just a bearing. Drop it in. After you grease it, done. Yeah, I can actually see pits in the rollers. This has to be replaced. It's not really an option. They're like $8 or something. Take that apart and look at it first. Make sure we don't need both. It's usually only the outers, oddly enough. You would think the inner takes most of the load. It's larger, but I think that's why the inner doesn't get damaged as quickly as the outer, because the outer is smaller, and they both kind of disperse the load about evenly, believe it or not. At least in my mind. You guys know the engineering aspect of it? It's got to be 70%, 30%. Yeah, this inner bearing's good. So let me have them get some bearings. Anytime there's metal on the bearing too, you also have to take 100% of the grease off of there, because it could be metal in that grease. It's going to hurt your new parts. So we'll clean that up real good. Wheel bearings are $7 each, by the way. On the way. Might as well strip this back down. You got to take the caliper and rotor off. Obviously, get the axle out, get the axle bearing. So we'll do that. We'll get both calipers off, rotors off. Then we'll work on that rusty rear end cover, which I wasn't sure if they were getting me when looking at the ticket, but I think this is it. That's this truck's gonna be so nice for me. Other than the rust, the rest of it will be nice. Oh yeah, I knew it. Getting low. Once a month, whether you like it or not, you got to charge it. Sometimes having to get a battery like that mid-job makes you feel lower than a snake's belly in a wagon track. Got to get some room for reassembly here is all I want. Makes it that much easier to drop it back. I don't want the internet freaking out. Might have mentioned that once or twice. Uh-oh. Another problem. Emergency brake shoes. Well, one of them's wrong. This one looks right. I gotta lift it up and see if the cover's wrong or the gasket. One of them doesn't match. I don't know how that's even possible. How do you get a gasket and cover that don't go together? Okay, let's lift it up, take a look at the cover. I climbed under the lift. The cover matches. The gasket doesn't. It wasn't too glamorous, so I didn't film it. But it says right on the package for the gasket, 78 to 85. It's not a 78 to 85. That's easy. It's kind of strange. He said that big Mustang ticket's got to be done by Thursday. So okay, no problem. You think you can get the Ranger done too? I said, yeah, no problem. And he said, here, look at this Traverse. He hears a noise under the hood. He thinks it might be the water pump. I'm like, how can he be sure it's the water pump? Oh my goodness gracious, it's so funny. It's just nature of the beast. It's so funny though. A day in the life. Look at the off-road tires. It's crazy. You see those things? They're brand new. That's nice. 2015. Mileage is not available. I bet you it is. I put these rubber things on there a long time ago. Mileage is certainly available. All you got to do is push the magic mileage button, which is right around here. 137,578. Something about the blower not working in the AC. Like the rear fan doesn't work at all, and the front blows warm. But what happens is on these modern vehicles, it's like a 2015 or so I think it was, if the engine's overheating, it turns off your AC. So you don't get any AC unless you take care of your engine. Those are the rules. I don't make them. Let's see what's going on under the hood. Got to pop this little latch right here. The cool thing about these ultra high-tech modern vehicles is you can check AC with a scan tool generally. AA Premium. That's how you know it's good. It says Premium right on the box. These water pumps are not easy to change. You have to take the front motor mount and some other accoutrements off of there. I also noticed he has a broken motor mount. And since you got to take it out to do it, you might as well put a new one in, right? So I don't know what will happen if we'll end up using his parts, our parts. There'll be no warranty if we use his parts, which, like I've said before, people say they understand that ahead of time, but when it goes wrong, they no longer understand it. So they say that thinking that it never could be a bad part that they brought. But it happens. We had one guy, he brought all new shocks and struts for his Magna Ride Chevy Yukon. And Joe took it all apart and found out they were the wrong ones. Put it all back together, had to charge him for the labor. He didn't get anything done. We just took it apart, put it back together because the parts he brought were wrong. Boy, he wasn't happy. If it was up to me, I go, no, we don't do that. Are you gonna mark up the parts and rip me off? Yes. Otherwise, we won't do it. If you don't want to allow us to make the profit we need to stay in business and make the job worthwhile, then we don't want to do it, right? Is that wrong? You guys tell me in the comments. I might have asked you this a couple dozen times. I'm not sure. Engine coolant temperature circuit intermittent. Fuel pump flow performance. Seatbelt, airbag, rear temperature control feedback circuit, unprogrammed transponder ID received and need theft deterrent. So we do have temperature related codes, which is probably stopping the AC from working. I'm going to go ahead and send them this report so that we have it. And 137,578. Plus they'll have the mileage because the ticket says no mileage available. And we're going to look at some AC pressure. We can start it up and see if the AC pressure changes, or we can see if it says compressor clutch denied, over temp code or something. They'll have the little data parameters that'll say the reason it won't let you have the compressor. We can take a look at some of that stuff once I send this report. What we've done is gone into ECM, then HVAC data. In ECM, there's like 15 different categories that you can go to in ECM. Brought up relay command for the clutch. Disengage history, the most recent ones will be 7 and 8. High side pressure sensor, request signal, and see if the AC has been disabled for wide open throttle, which should only be temporary, but you never know. Compressor relay off, out of range, engine stall prevention, 6.3 psi. Air conditioning request signal, no. 6.3 psi, it has no refrigerant in it. The battery sounds a little weak. When I cranked it, the voltage dipped because I had the ignition on for about 4 minutes, which the battery shouldn't have discharged that much that quickly. So there may be something going on with that. Let's go back in because it kicked us out of the module. Heating and AC in the ECU. Hopefully the scan tool, which has been, yep, it remembers your selections, which is cool. No refrigerant. Request signal, no. Let's go like this. Like that. That should change to yes. It may take a second. That one, that's cold. Oh, it's turning off my button. Oh, it's blinking. There it goes. And it's saying, hey man, you can't have AC. We got to find the leak. It could have overheated and purged all the refrigerant if it got too hot. Generally, it won't. But if the radiator gets hot enough, the pressure could go up. Normally, the system will shut the compressor off at around 350, 380 psi, depending on the vehicle. But let's see if we can find a refrigerant leak. We know he's got a coolant leak from the water pump. We can see he's got coolant and a water pump. You can't even see it, so maybe I'll lift it up and we'll try looking from underneath. The blower in the rear is going to be a separate issue, I think. We're going to have to see if I can get that rear blower to work. If you turn this on, then you should be able to go to the rear controls and try to get the AC fan to blow, at least on the back. That's what I'm going to do right now. That doesn't sound right. Hell, what the heck is poking me? Damn, that thing is solid, man. It's all the way to hot. That don't sound good. And there's definitely nothing happening back there. That's going to be access to the panels. It's enabled up front. That little button means that it'll let someone in the back control the AC. I don't see any other panel back here besides that one. Sometimes, if you know where the blower fan is, you can just give it a whack like your typical motor and see if it'll start up. I'm in the HVAC module. Actuation test, rear auxiliary blower speed. I don't hear or feel anything from that rear blower. We're gonna have to take the rear panel off to get to that thing. That test should force it on. Auxiliary blower motor speed, regular blower motor speed, and I hear 0 noise from it. The switch squeaks and all, that's kind of strange too, but this doesn't use the switch. This is the computer forcing it on, and it's not happening. It probably has a bad blower motor and the switch just squeaks, but we have to get back there and put a voltmeter. You got to take that whole rear trim panel off most likely to get to it, and we'll see what happens with this one. I'm going to try to get my eyes on that water pump and see if it's leaking, and we'll know we need to do that. Motor mount, rear blower, or at least access to it. We'll see what happens. They dropped it off at least. It's not in a red envelope, but my parts came in for the Ranger now, so we might be back on that. But once I get this up in the air and take a look, I'll show you if I see something real silly with the water pump. All right, we got a lot of questions answered on the drive-on rack. I got coolant running down here. I'm looking with the daylight. I don't know if it shows up. I'll show you guys with the yellow glasses, but there is a hose that is leaking all over the place over here. You see it up there? Let me get you some glasses. See that thing? It's crazy, isn't it? So that hose is causing a lot of trouble, and it goes to the condenser. I thought the compressor was leaking at first, but you always want to go to the highest point. You look above it and see if there's dye above it. Then I'm like, well, there's dye above it. And then I go further up and I go, well, there's dye above that. So needs an AC hose. Probably recommend if it's a manifold assembly, that ought to be good. I'll recommend them if they're 2 separate hoses. They generally leak out of the high side, but yeah, that's a manifold assembly anyway. So, and the water pump is also leaking too. So the only thing left is getting to that rear blower motor to diagnose that 100%. Back to work. Nobody wants to hear bitching. The thing was way too tight coming off, by the way, but I wasn't filming it. So. A little bit of washer fluid, and we saved the day like a superhero. That went back together kind of quick. You missed it. You gotta pay better attention next time. The hose routed like it's supposed to be. Pads and rotors are nice. Packed all the bearings. I didn't pack the other side though. Don't worry, don't worry. Stay tuned. It's gonna get even more exciting than it already is. Luckily, you know what messes with my anal retentiveness is different size bolts on the calipers on this side. 12 millimeter. That's the worst thing that happens today. It's going to be an awesome day. Now, I can't possibly make this into a new knuckle, but I can chip away the really bad loose stuff so we don't get false ABS codes when I'm done. And oh my God, I was driving it and it felt like the wheel was going to fall off because it was shaking so bad on the brake pedal. Like, yeah, that's an ABS stuff. It never did that before. So, nip it in the bud right now. Trust me. Just chip away all the old flaky stuff. Doesn't have to look brand new or any of that. You just don't want the silly stuff to fall down and get in the reluctor. Got my bearing packer right here. You haven't seen before. I want it kind of straight, so we'll crook it. That's all right. Clean the majority of your old grease off the bearing. I'll take a rag and kneel on this You can push it by hand, but I don't know if it's my T-Rex arms don't provide the leverage necessary, but I know my belly and my legs will help. It's like when we used to play with the Play-Doh and the machines. Maybe you could squeeze them out and make hair and stuff. Same thing. Not quite as cool, but almost. It helps pushes the old grease out and stuff too, the remaining old grease. This side didn't have a bad bearing, so it's not as critical, but put some grease in the hub, put this bearing. We're going to reuse the seals. We're on a budget, so not a big deal with disc brakes. Back when it was drum, you really should change the seals for sure every time, or if they're torn or damaged or something. I think we're going to be all right. While our fingers are all greasy, if you younger folks, wear some gloves. The first 30 years of my career, gloves weren't a thing. It was too late for me. Like I've said before, save yourself. Don't do what I do. Force a habit. Pack this bearing the same way. This reluctor is super fragile, so you definitely want to, that's why I clean the rust off. The design of that, rust gets trapped in there, and you know, especially if it goes in a couple of segments, then you're going to get definite ABS stopping issues. My bearings are all packed. We're going to start going back together. A little schmidge of grease on the spindle, just for insurance purposes. I don't like to pack the hub completely full of grease, because then it tends to just ooze out everywhere. But you definitely want more than just what the bearings hold, basically. Because once you drive a mile down the road, the grease is out of the bearing, mostly just clinging to the sides and edges of the bearing. And it has to get warm and begin to flow a little bit to re-lubricate everything in there. I mentioned the threads are a little sketchy on this side, the last couple threads. Usually that spins right on the hand. Did that, back it off, take the play out of it, go a little more. Perfect. That is about as good as it gets. If you have a different technique, let me know. There is a torque specification, believe it or not. The torque specification is very little. They also have a specification for truck mufflers. They also have a specification for how much you can rock the rotor. You put a dial indicator on and stuff. To me, there's too much margin for error that way. But because how hard do you tug on it? How hard do you attempt to deflect it? That's a measurement for that too. So I always do it by feel, and I've had good results the 40 some odd years I've been doing this. To hit yourself in the face while you're doing it. Doesn't pay enough labor to justify that. Already got my hardware, got grease under and over, slides are greased. Pads too, this little foot is bent up too far, so when you first put these in, those corners, you have to push those down. They're a little bit weird, but there you go. to get this done up front first. That's why I was kind of really didn't mind getting interrupted, to tell you the truth, because the back is balancing. The back is balancing on the pumpkin, and the rear shock brackets are not far off the jack, but they're not on it. So I felt like if I could set the front jack down, front tires on the lift, less likely to have, what's a nice way to put it, an issue. We don't want any issues. Get the wheels on here, get them torqued. Start on the back. You might say to yourself, Jimmy, that's going to make a mess. To which I would say, you're absolutely right. But look how rusty all the pins and all the parts are, because this thing's out in the weather. I don't think any rear end grease is going to hurt it, and the cover will fit off because it's not touching that. So I'm going to kill two stones with one bird. I'm going to lubricate our jack pivot points and get that rear end cover off there. Look at that thing, huh? Seen better days. I do have a drain. I'm not going to be a total slob. I just honestly don't want to put the tires on just to reposition the jack. If I put a stand there, I could have lifted it by the U-bolts, but I don't even really trust the axle tubes any more than I trust the center section. And the front tires are on the ground, so it's not going anywhere. These used to be 13s. We'll figure out what they are now, and we'll get those bolts out of there. That's the bottom line. Whether you want me to do it this way or not, it's about to happen. Look at this port thing. I don't know how you guys do it. Now, I don't miss this stuff, man. This was the norm on Long Island. I remember I was working on my GTO, fixing all this rust, and my friend came back from South Carolina with a 55 Chevy. Man, it was nice. I said, whoa, this car is so old and there's no rust on it. Of course, at the time it was, that was 1980, 81. So how old was a 55 Chevy, you know? 26 at the time. Anywho, let me stop flapping and get some tools. I think I need to put a little bit of deep creep or croil on there. Those are 11s, and the rest are 13 or ½ inch. I think it's an 11. Might not be a deep enough socket. Oh, look at that. You turkeys. Thanksgiving's getting close, and you guys are turkeys. Those guys and this one. Oh, well, we know that comes loose. Sweet. I did have to hammer the extension into it because of the rust. Pocket screwdriver cleared out 80–90% of it, maybe. A little hammer action handled the rest. So we know we can put fluid in it. Does the winning ever stop today? Lubricate that jack for me, baby. That's nice. Let's get some of this over here. I'm not kidding about lubricating the jack. This thing's a wreck. And before it's completely trashed, it's like taking out the garbage. Nobody wants to do it. Someone has to. Eventually, someone's gonna have to, right? But that's what happens when a body starts slapping from doing a wild thing. Wild thing. Cool. That's why I was hoping to get done before lunch, and guess what time it is? Time to get this cover off because we're not going to lunch just yet. Now, you got to take this bolt out, slide this pin back. You could push the axle in, and there's little C-clip retainers in there. A lot of people mistakenly think only GM does that, but every manufacturer has a C-clip version differential. Another one finished up. Emergency oil change. She's got to get to work. Let's go. Now where were we before we were so rudely interrupted? Oh yeah, the C-clips. Fast and Furious Infinity guy. I got a magnet because the C-clips don't want to really come out of there. Usually you can just grab them or tap the axle and they'll fall out, but this one doesn't feel like it for some reason. I got the cross pin backed out, so I'm gonna pull his shield back. Oh, look at that. Nice. I'll set these on the lift someplace safe. I don't like to set these. I've seen some guys that'll set them in the bottom of the diff, but I don't want to say it's possible to forget them, but I've heard on occasion, and I've seen vehicles get towed back in, especially when I worked at tire stores. Guys would set them in there and put the axles in, get distracted by our emergency oil change, and come back and put the cross pin and the bolt in, fill it with fluid, and go try to drive in and an axle comes out. So I've seen it. I haven't done it, but when you see it enough, you go, I ought to come up with a method that don't happen. Because it can happen if you get interrupted a lot, no matter how experienced you are. So I got to get one more C-clip out, and we'll be able to slide them axles out and get to the seals and bearings. I'm going to squeeze this flange with my Knipex. Made in Germany. These things are awesome. Well, they're not awesome enough for me to squeeze it and get that clip out of it. It's very strange. What do you think? Yeah? They usually pop right out. Ooh, you know what I need? A hose pick tool. That'll fix everything. I haven't found anything a hose pick tool can't fix yet. If I turn it so the opening's at the top, I should have gravity on my side, right? Fast and Furious dually truck guy. Come on, man. I'm gonna get them back in if they're this hard to get out. You guys have any ideas? I forgot how to do this kind of repair. It's been so long. You asked me Ferrari questions, I got it. You asked me about this, I don't remember. This is archaic, domesticated. Man, it's movement and everything. The Fast and Furious is setting records today. Because it's hump day, I guess. How is it that you can't get the axle in enough to get that out? I don't know what it is with the mojo lately. These drop right out. You take the pin out, you push the axle in, they fall out usually. I don't know. Maybe if we stare at it a while, something will happen. What do you think? I put a C-clamp on the axle. I'm not making any promises, but I see the potential for it to come out. Might have to get my I have these in a right angle too, but see if I can save myself a trip to the candy shop. Got it. I don't see really anything wrong with it. It's kind of Ford, man. They make stuff so good that it stays tight forever and never falls out. Applause to the people at the Ford Motor Division. Now I can slide the axles out, allegedly. Unless they're mushroom tipped. I'm not sure. We'll see. I think the seal's leaking because it rusted. They don't look the same. But the axle did. Probably would. The only concerning part is the probably part. See this tool? I'm going to put it in the axle to catch it on the bearing like this. Then I'm going to attach it to a slide hammer. I'm going to whack the heck out of that thing. Got a 10-pound slide hammer. Should come right out of there. It'll take a few hits, but I'm gonna move these away from the rusty truck. I don't want the bearing and the seal to get rusty particulates on them. And the truck's kind of high, but I don't want to lower it too much. I guess I could lower it a little. I got about 6 inches to the oil drain, and then we'll come back and slide hammer these some gums out. One drop of differential oil on the glass. Some people will pull the seal out first, thinking it makes it a lot easier. But I find it only makes it a little easier. I'm going to pull them out together. We'll see how it goes. Maybe on the other side I won't do it that way. Not so bad. Even an old man can do it. I need to rest though. Just kidding. I'm gonna go right to the other side. Six tugs and I'm done. If I had a smaller slide hammer, the half size one is 5 pounds. That's the most common one. You would assume it'd be 12, right? But nope. I find when you double the size of that anvil, you triple the strength, it feels like to me. Because they're normally, with a little 5-pound slide hammer, it takes quite a bit of smacking and whacking. This is what that kit looks like. It's got 3 different sizes: small, medium, large. Well, for like what I work on, small, medium, and large. Nowhere near large enough for the big trucks. VCT tools, 45/444, made in China. Works fine. As often as I do axle bearings nowadays, this kit should last me the rest of my life. Although I probably shouldn't have just said it. I did. I also got a bearing and seal installer that I've had for, I don't know, 25, 30 years. We're going to do a bearing and seal install. Now I did take the seal on the other side and pre-lube it by testing it on the axle. So I'll do the same thing over here. I mean, why not? Some guys will put a little bit of axle grease in the bearing, but if you fill it correctly when you're done, there's going to be plenty of lubricant on the bearing. Feel free to do as you wish. This is aluminum. Shows you how you don't have to hit it that hard. Hear how that changed? It's bottomed out. Seal. Same thing. Don't hammer the ABS sensor and you're good to go. Now this I just hammer in flush with the edge of the flange on the tube. Ready to go back together. It's too easy. I would have had this done before lunch, but emergency oil changes got to be taken care of by somebody. Did I mention that yet? I probably did. I was hoping I was going to have this done by lunch and start on the Mustang after lunch and get that probably done, or halfway or most of the way. I'll be lucky if I get that Mustang on the lift at all tonight. We'll see. Try not to rest it on the seal too much. When you get to the larger part of the axle, and it's the same diameter as the bearing and it won't hurt the seal. Gotta find your splines without knocking your gears out. There you go. Now there is an inner and an outer on these. It's stamped from this side, so this is curved and this is sharp if they're new. This side is the larger side that goes toward the gear, and this side hits the button on the axle. So you know they face like this on this side and like this on that side. If it's your preference, I like to put them back the same way I got them out. If they're a little worn, they should be replaced, but you could flip them over so the wear is on the other side, right? These are in great shape. We're going back the same way. I wonder if this one will go in easier than it came out. Usually they do, because I have a hammer. So now sometimes you gotta roll things around. It'll go out the other side too, so sometimes you gotta go like this. Get a little bit of Earl on your fingers, just makes you feel alive. I took the lock pin out with this. Put it in with it. There you go. I haven't done axle seals and bearings in a while. One more visual to make sure nothing, those little clips didn't fall out or something weird. The cool thing is, if you see the clips in the axle and you got the pin in, you know they're seated back in the circle so they can't come out. The gear has a circle cut in it and the circlip sits in that recess. So they're not going anywhere now. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, put the cover on it. Clean the lift too good. Remember, I was trying to lubricate it. So why would I undo that? You don't need RTV on these, contrary to popular internet opinion. Sometimes you can put only RTV on it. If that's the way it came, that's the way I put it back. It came with a gasket, I put a gasket.
How you looking at it, CJ?
Looking good, baby. Looking good.
Right, you're able to get those bolts out so easy.
Oh yeah. Just raw talent.
Awesome.
That's all.
Good to know. You think he'll be done today so I can let the customer know, or?
Very end of the day, probably.
Thank you, sir.
All right. That lady with that Hyundai I just did, she had 3-ball tires, filthy air filter. We recommended it last time. She She's like, I just have to get to work. I don't want to do anything.
It's all gonna be really fast in editing. You have to slow it down to hear what I said.
Couple of those. I'm going to do the fluid. And then we just got to hang the brakes back on. And I already lubricated the hardware on the pads and stuff. Because someone else didn't. Nothing was lubricated in the contact points, and here we are with noisy brakes. So I'm just saying, you do what you want. Make sure my work is sealed up tight as a drum. This thing's about to be lubricated. Now, I've got 3 quarts of fluid in my dispenser. Shouldn't take that much. So I'm just going to fill it till she starts dripping, and then my job is done. This is going to take a minute, so when it starts running back out of the hole, we're good. It's got to be getting close. I'm about 2.5 quarts. It's usually about what most of them take. I got about 1.5 inches of fluid in the bottom of my fill tool. Kind of really thought we'd see it dripping out by now. And I do want to intentionally overfill it so it runs into the tubes for the axle bearings. Although, if you go around a turn, that'll help too. Oh, there it goes. Huh, I knew we had to be close. Not much left. That's probably 2.5, a little over. Yeah. All right. Clean up our mess. Calipers are held on 2 bolts each, real easy. Customer wants to know what is taking so long. I just said, well, you need an oil change? Gotta catch notches in the bottom of the pad. This is really troublesome. 2 separate size bolts on 1 caliper. Ugh. You know what I can do is assume there's a reason, put them back where they were, for whatever reason. This thing's 1 wheel away from a road test and completion. Doesn't that look like a brand new truck? I'm even going to leave the refrigerant in there for him. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to, but I think he's earned it. The Mustang we've been talking about for a couple of days is about to happen. Every lug nut is a lock. So the whole ticket's 8 hours. For some reason I was thinking 12 or something like that. I was really excited. Then I looked a little closer. I'm like, 8 hours. Inner and outer tie rod ends, both lower control arms, both front struts, both rear shocks, and a wheel alignment. It probably won't take nearly that long anyway, so that's not terrible. It's just not like I remembered it used to be. It used to be a little more reward to some of the bigger jobs, but that's all right. We're going to put our head down. We're going to knock this out along with a few oil changes. We'll see. And it all practically falls right off there. It'd be easy. 20 minutes. Well, it's far from clean, but I had to organize a little bit to work out here. I was going to do it in my bay, but they pulled the car in, started closing up. I'm like, well, I'm going to start on the Mustang. I got a half an hour. So at least we got it lifted up, got the wheels off. We can tinker around here a little bit. It looks like the shocks, I'll probably get the top of those rear shocks from inside the trunk. Bump stop, she's gone. Got good brakes, new tires. Actually a pretty nice car. It used to be silver and they painted it white. You can see the silver in the hood, So it wasn't wrecked. I thought it might have been wrecked, but they just did a color change. A little tired, but we're gonna get something done on this thing. I think those are 18s. That looks like a 19, which I happen to have right here. Let's see. Oh, that's an 18. Oh, that might be a 17. Okay. I'm gonna grab some more sockets. Huh. They're the same size, man. That looks bigger because of your shoulder. I'm telling you what, I'm easily fooled nowadays. Alright. I got more tools, don't you worry about it. I'm about to get a, looks like an 8mm. I'll put a wrench on that to turn the stud in instead of the nut off. Look at this confounded contraption. I didn't feel like looking for my 8.5 inch. I think I have one. But we'll just use an adapter. Shouldn't be nothing but a thing. Looking at this lower stabilizer link. Come here. There's not a lot of room to get stuff in there, but I do have to change this arm, right? Maybe if I pop the arm out, swap out the bottom of the stabilizer link, leave this off, get the new arm in, then we'll do the strut afterwards. It's like 0.9 labor per arm. They must be pretty easy, huh? Oh, the rack and pinion's in the way. That's no big deal, don't worry about it. I mean, seriously, you have to take the rack and pinion out. But, you see that tie rod, the sway bar link, the tie rod ends are all pretty bad. But I wonder, if we're gonna do, they sold inner and outer. It's like 1.6 for both sides for the inner and outer, which, whatever. But if I'm gonna take the inners out, I can probably get this bolt out for the arm while that's out. So we're just thinking out loud, trying to figure out an attack plan. I'm probably not going to do too much on it tonight. I'm really not motivated right now, to say the truth. This is like a cast iron arm. I thought they were aluminum. Looks like iron. Anywho, let's, I know those bolts you have to get from the top because it has a trapped nut on the bottom. I mean, a bolt is trapped on the bottom with a nut on the top. It's kind of strange, but... Alright, yeah, we got all our parts. We got parts of galore. So, what's that? A tie rod end. Tie rod end. What's this? Sway bar links. This is the shocks. Comes with new bushings. Oh, it's going to be so nice. Yeah, we'll do the, we'll disconnect the tie rod ends, then we can get the arms out of there. I knocked this off the power steering reservoir the other day. Dirt dauber nest. Alright, I'm procrastinating. Tired. It's the end of the day. It's already 5 o'clock, but I haven't heard a door come down yet. So I tend to keep going until I hear somebody pull a door down. And then I go in and help them. Usually. Unless I'm really beat up, then I'm the first one pulling the doors down. I'll save all my nuts just in case. You never know. Sometimes a new part is missing one or something like that. But lately I've seen some of them, they change the threads so you can't reuse the old nuts. We do have to break the 7/8 jam nut loose because you might be inclined to say, well, you're going to replace both, don't worry about it. But you got to get the boot off. They didn't get a boot with it, right? This clamp you can bend open with your hose pick tool. Should be all you need. And get this clamp off of here. Same thing on this side. I haven't heard a bay door pull down yet. Nope. Okay, keep going. Oh, they're pulling the doors down. Okay, guys. That's it for today. Cool. We are going to pick it up tomorrow. I see another, like a 2007 Mustang out here. Well, I think that's the one the guy put a clutch in it with his friend. And then they drove about 8 miles and it shut off and won't start. So they pinched the wire probably. We'll see who works on that one. It might not be me. I just happen to know about it. Thanks for watching today. Enjoyed your company. Ferrari's running great still, by the way. Hopefully it stays that way. It still smokes a little when you first start it up. I think there's still oil puddled in that intake manifold. We're going to pick it up again tomorrow. We'll be back on this Mustang. So I hope you'll torque the like button on the way out, and I hope you'll tune in tomorrow to watch the work on this Mustang happen, plus several oil changes most likely. Hope I see you there. Fast and furious at the end of the day, bro. You're awesome.